when you got to Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, um, what was your goal once you got there in football wise?
So I really same man. I really didn't have any goals. I'm gonna just be straight up. But I knew that I was always planning to get to the next level. In certain ways, but the way who I am as a person, if I'm doing something, I'm gonna try to be the best at it. It don't matter if I'm playing football. It don't matter if I'm doing engineering school work or sweeping the floor. I want to be pretty proficient at what I'm doing. So um, when I got to Gulf Coast, we call it Gulf Coast or PERK for short. When I got to Gulf Coast, it was no different. I just wanted to be the best at what I was doing, even though they had me playing out of positions. Because I went from, like I said, my senior year of high school playing a slot receiver type position, and then my freshman year of college they moved me to fullback. So like completely different. But I had the ability. It's just I had to get in where I fit in. And even though I played fullback, I led the team in touchdowns. Like I think I had like 12 touchdowns a year. It was crazy, yeah, because they used to put me in for short yardage situations, and I would take it like 50 yards to the crib. So my position wasn't really designed to carry the football, but they put it in place for me to carry the football. So um but yeah, back to your original question, man. I guess I didn't have any like goals. I was always just want to be the best at what I was doing.
Where do you get the mentality of wanting to be the best at everything that you do? Does that come from your upbringing, your family, or from within yourself? Like, where did that come from?
Honestly, man, I can't say. You can. I mean, obviously, you are a collection of your circle of influence, the people that's closest to you. But I can't put a finger on exactly where it came from. Selfishly, I would say, oh, that's all me. But I know it had. I know it had to do with those around me. No, and maybe a combination of both. But like I said, I found that out about myself that if I'm doing something, I want to be, you know, pretty good at it because I don't know. It's like I said, that's just how I'm made up.
Do you think the lack of love and notoriety in high school helped fuel you at Gulf Coast Community College because you tore it up there and then you were able to parlay that into an opportunity over at Mississippi State?
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like even at Gulf Coast, it was kind of the same. I really didn't get any notoriety from there either. It's a crazy story, man, because like I said, my freshman year I tore it up. Relatively speaking, like I said, I led the team in touchdowns, and my sophomore year I really lit it up. Like I had like 20 touchdowns and almost 2,000 yards in like 12 games, and Mississippi State was my only like good offer. I had another offer from the University of Troy. No disrespect to Troy, but I just always felt like I had major D1 talent. But I wasn't even getting love from like smaller D1 schools. So I was confused. Matter of fact, nobody was calling me. Only Troy, and I started talking to Mississippi State on accident. I want to say accident. It was like a chance interaction. I'm dead serious, man. I had went back to my high school to visit my head coach, and there was a recruiter from Mississippi State recruiting one of the guys that went to my high school, and my coach introduced me to him, and we exchanged numbers, and that's how I started talking to Mississippi State.
Wow, it's crazy, dude. So no love coming out of high school, no love coming out of community college, and then eventually you get to Mississippi State. From your perspective now that we've had some time and some distance away from those moments, like why?
Man, I don't know. They say everything happened for a reason. So if that's true, I just I play the cards that's dealt to me, man. I used to think why, but yeah, I don't regret any of the way everything unfolded for me. I don't regret it. So it put me in a good position in life, and for that, I just take it for what it is.
I wish we could get tipped off, dude. Like when things just aren't working out in the moment the way that we want. I wish there was like a little tip off, like, hey, dude, like it's gonna work out for you in like 5 to 7 years. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even if somebody told you that, you still wouldn't believe it though, because you in the situation right now. So it's like it's hard to see around that. You know, even like me knowing that, you know what I'm saying? Like I know that, bad times don't last forever. And if you work hard, eventually the sun will start shining again. But while you're going through that situation, you can't see that. It's like it's doom and gloom. But just keep working.
I love the saying that the sun will shine again. That's been I've friends, close friends have told that to me during some dark moments in my life. And of course, in the middle, I'm like, there's no freaking way. And then of course you go through some life a couple years later, you're like, oh yeah, the sun definitely comes out again. I love that, man. I really do.
Yeah, to quote 50 Cent, man, he say, joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. So, you need that duality.
That's facts, dude. That's extreme facts. So you finally get to Mississippi State. I'm just so fascinated by this because you're under the radar, under the radar. You get to Mississippi State. You rushed for 19 touchdowns in 2010 as a Bulldog, and that's still a school record. So did you just channel all of that lack of notoriety and just being like, hey guys, like I am legit and this is what I can do. Here you go.
Not, man. I wish I would say that I did, but I didn't. It was just it was just I was like, okay, I'm here now. Like, how do I become the best at what I'm doing right now? It was always about becoming the best at what I'm doing, or the best I could be anyway. I didn't have any expectations for myself, and I just my thing is like I knew if I handle all the small details, like working hard, being on time, all the little small things, everything else will handle itself. And like I said, I did all those things, and at the end of that season, I actually had 20 touchdowns. But one of them was considered it was an option play, but he lateraled it kind of forward, so they called it a passing touchdown. So I had 20 touchdowns, but they officially 19 rushing touchdowns. So, but yeah, I actually led the SEC that year in touchdowns. So in my first year at a major university. So, but it never even occurred. I was just doing like I said, just doing what I always did, just working hard, and a lot of times when you work hard, things work out for themselves.
I had a conversation with Marcus Lattimore in a previous episode of the podcast, and he talked about just virtue being enough. And I remember listening to that and playing it back over and over again. And I'm like, it may not work out in the way that you envision, but it's going to work out in some way, shape, or form. Especially like you said, when you're focusing on the small details. Like, what are your thoughts on virtue and hard work being enough?
I believe it, because like you just mentioned, it might not work out the way you want to, but if that's the way you live your life, like those are things that will enable anybody to be successful, like taking care of the small things. Even if to get, I guess, scientific, or not, and I'm not even gonna get scientific because, like I said, I it's like I can bounce stuff off in football terms and engineering terms now. But how they say the devil's in the details, that's so true in every phase of life, man. And it's like like the small things tell the big story. So, like I said, that's true everywhere in life. So, however that hits your brain, you know, it's success works on principles, and I think that's one principle of success: taking care of the little things.
I love it though, dude. The small details. I mean, in some ways, I mean, in a lot of ways, I love your approach to all this because it's simple, but it's hard. It's hard to enact because you think about all the outside noise and all the other stuff that's happening around you. It's really hard to kind of put those principles in play. But if you can stay focused on being the best at what you do, and obviously working on those small details, I mean, it's going to pay off. Again, maybe not exactly how you envision, but in some other way that will come to fruition at some point.
Yeah, this one guy that I think of. He embodies this, more than anybody who I feel like I've ever came across. So my rookie year was this wide receiver from Stanford. He played with Andrew Luck, same as Griff Whalen. So Griff wasn't the most gifted athletically, but he was smart as hell. And I feel like he always paid attention to detail. Like he wasn't going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was going to do his assignments. He was going to have his alignments right. It's like he handled all the small things, and for that, he had a pretty decent career. For somebody who wasn't as gifted athletically, relatively speaking. In the professional football league, so a national football league. But I always admired Griff for that, because I was like, man, this guy, like I say, not super athletic, and I think he was a walk-on at Stanford, to be honest, if I remember correctly. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to discredit his ability, but I just, like I say, he wasn't the fastest, that's for sure. He couldn't jump the highest. Just kind of a short white dude, but he made it. He made it work for himself. So I think like I said, I think he embodies that for sure.
That's such a valuable lesson. I asked somebody who played for Bill Belichick, like, what was it like playing for Bill Belichick? And I thought it was going to be just like this absolute, just he was this and he was this. And apparently he said it was the easiest thing in the world. He's like, because on every single play, he would say, I need you to go hit this person's left shoulder. And that's it. So apparently it was like the tiniest, minute detail, but it paid off.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, man, it's true everywhere.